Have you ever felt something move inside you that words could never describe? A quiet, electric pulse that whispers, "You are meant for something greater." Stay with me until the very end, because tonight you might discover that this whisper is not imagination. It is destiny calling your name. There are moments in life when everything pauses, when time itself feels like it's holding its breath. In those sacred pauses, your soul speaks louder than your mind. And if you have ever looked at the stars and felt they were looking back at you, then you already know this message is for you. Because within the circle of the Zodiac, only 4 signs carry a specific vibration, a destiny woven for the path of spiritual leadership. These souls are not born to follow, they are born to awaken others, to open portals of light in a sleeping world. This is not about fortune-telling or prediction. It is about remembrance, remembering who you were before fear taught you to forget. Every one of us carries the spark of the divine, but some carry a sacred fire that refuses to remain silent. These are the souls that burn for truth, that rise even after being broken, that lead not through words alone, but through presence. And if you are here, listening to these words, it is not by coincidence. The universe never misplaces energy. You were guided here for a reason. Perhaps you are one of the 4. Perhaps your spirit remembers what your mind has not yet accepted. So breathe deeply. Let your heart soften. The signs are about to speak through you, and as they do, you may recognize yourself in their voice. You may remember the light you came to carry. The road of a spiritual leader is not about power or control. It is about surrender. It is the courage to walk through darkness while holding a candle for others. These chosen signs were not given easy lives. They were given meaningful ones. Their challenges are not punishments. They are initiations. Every tear becomes holy water. Every wound becomes a doorway. And through those doorways, the divine breathes. So, before we begin, let me ask you something that only your soul can answer. Have you felt that invisible hand guiding you through moments that made no sense? Have you noticed the patterns, the timing, the synchronicities too precise to ignore? That is how the universe calls its leaders, through chaos disguised as destiny. And tonight, you will see which flame burns within you. Each of the 4 carries a different sacred code. One carries the fire of beginnings. One carries the heart that heals. One carries the wisdom that expands. And one carries the love that dissolves illusion. As we travel through their stories, their symbols, and their light, you will find pieces of yourself mirrored back to you. Some parts will echo loudly. Others will whisper softly in the background of your heart. But if you listen closely, you will hear your soul say, "Yes, this is me." So, my friend, do not just watch this video, feel it. Let the words reach the part of you that remembers who you truly are. And if at any moment something resonates, if you feel your chest warm or your eyes soften, that is your confirmation that you are awakening to your path. Take a moment right now and write in the comments below, "I am ready to remember who I am." Aries, the first spark in the wheel of the Zodiac. The soul that chooses to be born not into peace, but into movement. Aries is the divine breath that says, "Let there be light." There is something almost ancient in this fire, an echo of creation itself. These souls are not here to wait for signs from the universe. They are the sign. They are the explosion that begins the journey. When an Aries enters this world, they bring with them the memory of beginnings. Their spirit is wired to start revolutions, to open roads that others are too afraid to walk. You can see it in their eyes, that restless gleam, that hunger for something that cannot be contained by comfort. They are the children of divine courage, the ones who remind humanity that evolution begins with one brave decision, the choice to begin. But here is what few understand: this courage is not arrogance. It is faith in motion. Aries teaches us that real spiritual leadership does not come from titles or crowns. It comes from being the first to step into the unknown when no one else dares. The universe whispers, "Go," and Aries answers, "I already have." Their fire is not reckless, it is sacred. It is the cosmic force that cracks open the seed so that life can emerge. There is a reason why so many spiritual pioneers, healers, and lightworkers carry Aries energy in their charts. This sign vibrates with the frequency of divine initiation. It does not wait for permission. It listens to the pulse of creation itself. When Aries is awakened, their fire no longer destroys, it transforms. They begin to burn not out of anger, but out of purpose. Every action becomes prayer. Every risk becomes devotion. Imagine a soul walking through a storm, holding a torch while lightning breaks the sky. That is Aries. They do not fear the darkness because they were born from it. They know that faith is not proven in calm seas, but in the middle of chaos. The more resistance they face, the brighter they burn. And though they may stumble, they rise again with a look that says, "I am not finished." Yet, even fire must learn stillness. Aries' spiritual journey is not just about charging forward. It is about discovering the sacred rhythm between motion and rest. Many Aries souls struggle with patience, not realizing that sometimes the universe pauses them not as punishment but as preparation. The warrior must learn to breathe before battle. The light must gather itself before shining. In that sacred stillness, Aries discovers their next evolution: leadership through presence. They begin to understand that true strength is not in constant action, but in knowing when to surrender. When they master this, they stop fighting the world and begin guiding it. Their flame turns from wild to wise. They become protectors instead of conquerors. The world starts to follow their example, not their command. There is a divine paradox that lives inside Aries. They are both the spark and the lesson of restraint. The world needs their fire, but the fire must serve love. Every spiritual Aries must one day face the moment where passion meets humility. It is then that their light becomes pure. Their words begin to carry the weight of truth, and their actions ripple like prayers across the collective soul. Aries carries what can only be described as the flame of awakening. When they live in alignment, their energy ignites the hearts of others. They remind humanity that change begins with courage, that faith is not blind, but fierce. Their presence alone stirs others to rise, to act, to believe again. They do not preach transformation, they embody it. So when an Aries steps into their divine role, something extraordinary happens. The world feels it. People around them begin to move differently, think differently, believe differently. Aries lights the match that others will carry long after they have gone. That is their gift, not to control the flame, but to share it, to trust that the world will find warmth in what they began. The journey of Aries is not about being perfect. It is about being real. Every scar on their soul tells a story of persistence. Every setback refines their fire. Through the heat of their own evolution, they show others what it means to live with purpose. The path is not easy, but then again, nothing sacred ever is. Aries was never meant to be ordinary. They were meant to begin what others finish. And as the first spark fades into the quiet night, Aries stands as proof that divine courage is not the absence of fear, it is walking through it while carrying light. Their destiny is not to wait for miracles. Their destiny is the miracle. Cancer, the sacred heart of the Zodiac, the soul that carries the ocean inside them. When Cancer enters this world, they bring the memory of every emotion humanity has ever felt. They do not just see life, they feel it. Their spirit is made of tides and moonlight, of tenderness that can move mountains. And though they often try to hide their depth behind silence, their energy speaks louder than words. There is something almost celestial about the way Cancer loves. It is not a love of possession, but of protection. They do not just want to hold people, they want to heal them. Their heart is an ancient temple where others come to rest. They sense pain without being told. They feel joy without needing explanation. That is their gift, an intuitive knowing that bypasses logic and goes straight to the soul. To talk with a Cancer is to be seen without masks. Their eyes carry empathy that disarms even the most guarded hearts. They are the keepers of the emotional realm, the ones who remind humanity that strength is not cold, it is compassionate. The world often mistakes their softness for weakness, not realizing that it takes immense bravery to love so openly in a world that worships armor. Cancer's courage is quiet, but it moves universes. Cancer's spiritual leadership is born from their ability to create safety. Where they walk, hearts unclench. Where they speak, people exhale. They are the teachers of emotional truth, the healers of forgotten wounds. Their presence is medicine. They remind others that healing does not always come from doing, but from being. In their stillness, others find peace. In their warmth, others remember that love is the greatest force of all. But this path is not without struggle. The very gift that makes Cancer a healer also makes them vulnerable. They absorb the pain around them like water absorbing ink. When the world cries, they feel it echo inside their chest. That is why Cancer must learn the sacred art of boundaries not as walls, but as circles of light. They must protect their sacred energy without shutting the gates of compassion. Imagine standing on the edge of the ocean, watching waves rise and fall. That rhythm is the essence of Cancer. They flow between giving and receiving, nurturing and retreating. When they forget to retreat, they drown in their own empathy. When they remember to return to themselves, their intuition becomes crystal clear. Cancer's wisdom comes not from constant giving, but from balancing love for others with love for themselves. Cancer carries the moon's energy, ever-changing, mysterious, reflective. They are ruled by cycles, and their emotions move in sacred patterns. What others call mood swings are, in truth, the tides of spiritual awareness. Cancer feels everything because they are meant to translate emotion into guidance. Every feeling is a message, every tear a sacred offering. When they listen to their emotions instead of fearing them, they become prophets of the heart. Many spiritual teachers born under Cancer carry a quiet magnetism. They do not seek followers. They attract souls who crave authenticity. People are drawn to them not because of what they say, but because of what they radiate. Their energy feels like home safe, familiar, eternal. When they share wisdom, it lands softly, yet deeply, like rain on dry soil. Cancer's words carry frequency. They vibrate in the listener long after they are spoken. Yet, to truly embody their divine role, Cancer must face the shadow of emotional attachment. Their love can become heavy if not balanced by faith. They must learn that caring does not mean carrying. Healing does not mean sacrificing oneself. When they release the need to fix everything and instead trust the divine flow, their compassion becomes infinite. They begin to love without exhaustion, to serve without depletion, to give without losing themselves. Cancer's heart is the vessel through which divine love flows into the world. They remind us that spirituality is not just about rising above. It is about sinking into the truth of who we are. To be human is to feel, and to feel is to connect. Cancer teaches that every emotion, even the painful ones, carries wisdom. Tears cleanse the spirit the way rain nourishes the earth. When Cancer embraces their sacred sensitivity, they become the living embodiment of grace. They lead by example, showing that kindness is strength and gentleness is power. They become spiritual anchors in a restless world. Their intuition guides others back to their own hearts, to the divine sanctuary within. They do not shout truth, they breathe it. They do not demand change, they inspire it simply by being. The destiny of Cancer is not to conquer the world, but to heal it, through empathy, through love, through the courage to remain open, even when it hurts. They are the ones who hold the torch of humanity when the world grows cold. Their gift is the reminder that compassion is not weakness, it is divinity in motion. When they live in harmony with their heart, they become what the world most desperately needs, proof that love is still the greatest miracle. Sagittarius, the eternal seeker, the traveler whose spirit cannot be contained by walls, whose heart was born under an open sky. When Sagittarius enters the world, they carry an unshakable knowing that there is more truth to discover, more meaning to uncover, more divine light waiting beyond the horizon. Their soul is the arrow that pierces illusion and reaches straight into the essence of existence. Sagittarius lives with one foot on the earth and the other in the realm of the infinite. They are not just explorers of places, but explorers of consciousness. They ask the questions that make the universe smile. Who am I? What is truth? What lies beyond belief? These souls are born to stretch the limits of human understanding. They are the storytellers of divinity, the philosophers of light who turn experience into wisdom and wisdom into faith. When you speak with a Sagittarius, you feel their energy immediately expansive, curious, alive. They have a fire that does not burn but illuminates. They carry laughter that hides galaxies of insight. Their optimism is not naive. It is ancient faith wearing a modern smile. They see possibilities where others see endings. To them, every detour is a divine direction, every loss a lesson, every encounter a teacher sent by the stars. Sagittarius carries what can be called the flame of expansion. They are here to remind humanity that truth is not found in confinement, but in exploration. They invite others to question, to wonder, to look up instead of down. The Sagittarius leader is not the one who tells you what to believe. They are the one who hands you the compass and says, "Go see for yourself." They trust that experience is the purest form of revelation. But their road is not without shadow. For every truth they uncover, there is a temptation to believe they have found the truth. Sagittarius must learn that wisdom is a journey, not a trophy. The moment they claim to know everything, the universe humbles them with another horizon. The lesson is eternal. Stay curious. The teacher who stops learning ceases to be a light. Sagittarius shines brightest when they remember that faith grows with humility. This sign is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, generosity, and divine luck. It blesses Sagittarius with a natural ability to see the bigger picture, to connect dots others do not even notice. Their intuition does not come from stillness, it comes from movement. They receive messages from the wind, from conversations with strangers, from the silent wisdom of distant lands. Every journey is a prayer. Every adventure is a communion with spirit. Sagittarius often carries the soul of a teacher, though they rarely call themselves one. Their leadership flows naturally through enthusiasm. They awaken curiosity in others, reminding them that learning can be sacred, that discovery itself is devotion. People are drawn to Sagittarius because they make spirituality feel free, not rigid, not heavy, but alive. They teach that joy and faith are not opposites, but twins born from gratitude. When Sagittarius speaks truth, it comes like a sunrise. Their words are not rehearsed, they are guided. They speak with the kind of clarity that breaks chains and lights hearts. Yet, they must remember that their gift is not to convert but to inspire. The messenger serves the message, not the ego. When Sagittarius learns to deliver wisdom without attachment, their voice becomes the pure echo of divine intelligence. Imagine a traveler walking through the desert, following a distant star. That is Sagittarius guided by faith, not sight. They know that every path, no matter how winding, leads back to the same source. Their freedom is sacred, not rebellious. They are not escaping the world. They are embracing all of it. For them, life itself is the temple, and every experience is a verse in the holy scripture of the soul. Sagittarius's spiritual journey is about integration, turning knowledge into embodiment. They are born to gather truths like constellations and then connect them into meaning. Their mission is not to hold the light for themselves, but to share it generously, to remind others that wisdom is everyone's birthright. They travel not just through countries, but through consciousness. And wherever they go, they plant seeds of expansion that bloom long after they've moved on. Still, the Sagittarius heart is tested through restlessness. They are always chasing the next truth, the next adventure, the next horizon. But their true awakening comes when they realize that what they've been seeking was never outside. It was within them all along. The greatest discovery is not a new land, but a new level of awareness. The moment Sagittarius turns their gaze inward, the entire universe opens its arms. In the end, Sagittarius leads through inspiration, not control. They remind us that faith is not meant to imprison, it is meant to liberate. Their laughter is sacred medicine, their curiosity divine fuel. They are the cosmic storytellers, the eternal pilgrims who show humanity that the journey is the destination. And through them, the universe teaches one timeless truth. Enlightenment is not a place we reach. It is a path we choose every single day. Pisces, the 12th and final chapter in the great story of the Zodiac, the place where beginnings and endings dissolve into one. The energy of Pisces is water returning to the ocean, the drop remembering it was never separate from the sea. This sign carries the wisdom of all that came before it, every joy, every loss, every rebirth. To meet a Pisces is to meet the memory of the soul itself. Pisces does not walk through life. They float between worlds. Their spirit moves like a current, gentle, yet unstoppable, invisible, yet everywhere. They are the dreamers who can hear what silence is trying to say. They feel what others refuse to feel. They see the invisible threads connecting everything that exists. That is why they are the mystics, the bridges between the human and the divine. Their entire being is tuned to frequencies most people cannot even perceive. When a Pisces soul awakens, they do not speak of faith, they radiate it. They are the living proof that God is not a concept, but a presence, a vibration, a breath inside every living thing. Pisces carries within them the sacred ability to dissolve barriers. They soften hearts hardened by fear. They bring compassion to places where judgment once lived. They are here to remind humanity that love is not earned, it simply is. But such depth comes with a sacred challenge. Pisces feels everything, sometimes too deeply. They absorb the pain of others as if it were their own, and often they confuse compassion with sacrifice. The emotional ocean inside them can become overwhelming when they forget where they end and where others begin. To lead spiritually, Pisces must learn to swim through their empathy with discernment, to let feelings pass through them without letting them drown their light. Imagine walking through the world with your heart open like a temple door. That is Pisces. They absorb energies, emotions, and even the unspoken words that linger in the air. But here lies their spiritual mastery: to love without losing themselves, to give without becoming empty, to carry the pain of the world without letting it bury their joy. Their lesson is sacred balance, compassion with boundaries, intuition with grounding, love with wisdom. Pisces leads not through structure or logic, but through presence. When they enter a room, the atmosphere changes. There is an invisible calm that follows them, a softness that melts tension. They do not need to preach. Their energy does the speaking. They are the embodiment of divine stillness, the quiet reminder that enlightenment is not something you chase, it is something you remember. To be near them is to feel the breath of heaven. Their connection to the unseen is unmatched. Pisces receives messages through dreams, symbols, songs, and moments of silence. They are natural channels for divine truth, often without realizing it. Many artists, healers, and visionaries carry this energy because Pisces transforms emotion into art, pain into beauty, chaos into harmony. They translate what the soul feels into something the human heart can understand. Yet, their greatest danger lies in escape. Because they feel so much, Pisces can easily drift into illusion, hiding in fantasy, addiction, or denial to avoid the heaviness of the world. But the true spiritual leader within them is not the one who escapes pain. It is the one who transforms it into compassion. When Pisces learns that they can walk in the world without losing their connection to the divine, their presence becomes a miracle in motion. Pisces carries what can be called the gift of dissolution. They are born to dissolve barriers between people, between realms, between heaven and earth. When they speak, love flows. When they create, healing ripples outward. Their very existence reminds others that separation is an illusion. They are the bridge through which divine love touches human pain and turns it into wisdom. Spiritually, Pisces represents unity, the place where opposites meet and merge. They are both student and teacher, both fragile and unbreakable. Their tears are prayers, their laughter is medicine. They teach that surrender is not defeat. It is the highest form of trust. Through them, the universe whispers a timeless truth. When you stop fighting the current, you finally find your way home. To see a Pisces live from their soul is to witness grace in human form. They forgive when others cannot. They hope when others give up. They believe in light even while standing in the dark. Their faith is not learned, it is remembered. Pisces knows that life is a circle, and that every ending is a doorway disguised as goodbye. They walk through pain the way others walk through air, with quiet acceptance, with eyes full of galaxies. The destiny of Pisces is sacred beyond measure. They are the final breath before awakening, the silent prayer that connects all living things. They do not seek to lead. They become the light that others naturally follow. Through their compassion, the world softens. Through their vision, the invisible becomes visible. They carry the reminder that spirituality is not about escaping the world. It is about embracing it with divine tenderness. And when Pisces fulfills their calling, they do not stand above others. They kneel beside them. They remind us that the divine does not live only in temples or heavens, but in every heartbeat, every tear, every act of love. Their legacy is not fame or glory, it is healing. They are the proof that even in a world of chaos, peace is possible when we remember that we are all drops of the same infinite ocean. Take a breath. Let it reach deep into your chest. Feel it, that quiet pulse beneath your ribs, that rhythm that connects you not just to life, but to everything that exists. You have traveled through the fire of Aries, the heart of Cancer, the wisdom of Sagittarius, and the divine depth of Pisces. Each one carries a piece of the whole, and together they form the compass of spiritual leadership that lives within every soul brave enough to awaken. Maybe as you listened, you recognized yourself in one of them. Maybe you saw fragments of your essence scattered among them all. That is because truth is never meant to be owned by one, it is shared among many. The universe does not give the light to a single hand. It distributes it like stars across the night sky. You, too, are one of those stars. The moment you accept that your light is sacred, you begin to understand what it means to lead with spirit. Leadership in the spiritual sense is not about standing above others. It is about standing with them. It is walking through the storm and whispering, "We will make it through." It is guiding without force, teaching without pride, loving without condition. The true leader is not the loudest voice in the room, but the calm presence that reminds others of their own power. The greatest teachers are not those who demand faith, but those who awaken it through example. Every challenge you have faced has not been punishment, but preparation. Every heartbreak has not been failure, but initiation. Every time you were asked to start again, the universe was molding you into the kind of soul that leads others not through perfection, but through compassion. You are the living evidence that light can be reborn after darkness, that faith can grow even in the soil of uncertainty. Look back at your path. Every loss, every lesson, every leap of courage, they were never random. They were threads in a divine tapestry, weaving your unique destiny. The moment you realize that everything you have endured has shaped your purpose, your pain begins to make sense. You stop asking, "Why me?" and begin whispering, "Thank you for choosing me." Because the universe only gives great missions to souls strong enough to carry them. The world needs leaders who are not afraid to feel deeply, who dare to love without guarantees, who can stand in the fire and still choose peace. That leader could be you. Perhaps it already is. The spiritual awakening is not some grand event waiting to happen. It is the small decision you make every morning to be a vessel of light in a world that has forgotten its own brilliance. Let the light within you move into the world. Speak truth even when your voice trembles. Choose kindness even when the world feels cruel. Walk with faith even when the path is unclear. Because every time you do, you remind others of their own light. And this is how one soul becomes the spark that ignites thousands. This is how transformation begins, not through noise, but through presence. And when you leave this moment, take with you the remembrance that the universe is not somewhere above you. It lives through you. The divine speaks through your laughter, your compassion, your courage to keep going. You are not waiting for a sign, you are the sign. The prophecy has always been you. Before you go, let your spirit continue this journey of awakening. There are more paths to explore, more wisdom to uncover, more truths to remember. Watch the other videos on this channel and let the light expand even further. Because this is not the end of your awakening. It is only the beginning of your return to yourself. And so, as the stars look down and the night turns into dawn, let this truth echo in your heart. You were never meant to blend into the darkness. You were born to illuminate it.